and welcome back to the Mindful Dose podcast. This is another Lunar Talks episode, and it's one of the most special ones because we're officially in eclipse season. So, eclipse season happens every 6 months, and it usually involves 2 lunations during that season period. And we are not only having an eclipse season, but we have shifted the axis of where the eclipses are happening in our charts. So for every 18 months, the eclipses are the nodes of the moon, which is where the eclipses come in. It's happening on a set of zodiac signs. And since 2024, September of 2024, they've been in Pisces and Virgo. Just recently, a few weeks ago, the nodes have shifted from Pisces and Virgo to Leo and Aquarius. So this episode is on the solar eclipse in Leo. It's the first of the Leo Aquarius storyline that will be taking place for the next 18 months. If you're curious about eclipses, check out the latest episode where I fill you in on what they are, how to work with them, and the history behind them in astrology. So the solar eclipse in Leo is a new moon, but with it being eclipsed, it's a new moon magnified. So it's so much more powerful and potent in the Leo aspect of our lives. And every zodiac sign has Leo in their chart. If you're not a Leo, you have Leo in your chart. And this area of your life is being activated. Through an eclipse lens, it's activated with so much more energy. There's so much more going on. It's a major beginning or ending in your life. So the new moon is taking place on August 12th at 1:35 p.m. Eastern Time at 20 degrees Leo. The sun and the moon are both at the same position in the sky. And this lunation is ruled by the sun. So the sun is the spotlight of the whole eclipse. And what it's doing is that it's really charging up the energy that we are experiencing right now. And the south node is the part of the eclipse interpretation in this lunation. So the south node represents what's behind us, what we've already worked on and established. So the emphasis here is what's behind us, what we've already done. And it's, again, the first of the Leo Aquarius eclipse. Now, it's not only eclipsed, it's also in combination with the energies of Jupiter, which is a big deal kind of planet. It activates luck, optimism, and good fortune. We also have Mercury in the sign of Leo. It's a little bit further away from where the actual eclipse is, but it's all in the same house. It's all in the same party of Leo. So we have Jupiter and Mercury in the mix of all of this energy that the eclipse is bringing forward. So with Jupiter and Mercury in the mix, the last few weeks leading up to this eclipse, we've been preparing for rewriting our past. A few lunations ago, we had a new moon in Cancer, which is where we set up the ritual of rewriting our past. Now, this eclipse, we're starting to sprout from that seed that we planted in June, and we're working through the soil. We're not quite out of that soil. We're still working in the darkness. So the new moons, if you've ever been to a place if you've ever been to the Catskills or somewhere where there's little to no light pollution, you will notice that the new moon, the nighttime sky is so dark. You can hardly see past your hands. And then when there's a full moon in the same area, it illuminates the entire landscape as if there's like 10 street lamps on the road. It's a really fascinating experience, and I think everyone should, step out of the city life and experience a new moon or a full moon in its purest form in nature, because then you'll really understand the gist of working with a new moon where the sky is dark and you can't see what's being put in the ground or what's happening beyond you, and experiencing a full moon nighttime sky where you can really see like hundreds of feet ahead of you. It's It's just so beautiful how the moon lights up the sky. Anyway, that's a personal experience, and I think that everybody should have that experience. Under this lunation sky, we have Mercury and Jupiter. These are two other planets that are combining their energies with the new moon. The new moon is a time to plant seeds. Planting a seed under this lunation is it's going to come from the way that we speak about our life and our journey. So Jupiter has a way of expanding and making things grow exponentially because it's the big daddy planet. Mercury is the way that we drive our world through thoughts, communication, and by taking ourselves outside of our minds and out into the world. So these two planets coming together under a solar eclipse of Leo, where the South Node is taking place, it's more about a continuation of rewriting that story that we began a couple weeks ago when there was a new moon in Cancer. So if you remember that ritual, we took time to think back on our past from an emotionally higher perspective and rewrite that story. So kind of absolving the pain and sadness or any emotional lower frequency and bringing it up to a higher frequency and using that perspective to rewrite the story and feel more positively about our past. So that seed was planted a few weeks ago. A new moon, we're still working in the dark. So with this eclipse, I feel that we're now sprouting from that seed and we're working our way through the soil and reaching up towards the surface where the sun will then support what life has grown beyond the darkness. So this solar eclipse is super powerful because eclipses are magnetic. They're exponentially more powerful than a regular new moon or full moon. So the words that we use in our stories, day to day, within ourselves, in our writing, wherever it is that we are speaking out our story, it has a lot more power behind the words. So be very mindful about what you say about yourself, your life, your goals. This isn't all about you type of lunation. Leo is about our individuality. It's another version of the me factor. So putting yourself on the spotlight and using the right words to really push yourself forward in a direction that feels optimistic. So the major theme of this solar eclipse, it's a character reset. It's an opportunity to be a different version of yourself. So you're not changing who you are, you're changing the way that you allow yourself to be seen. You can speak of yourself from a higher perspective and continue that theme. You are shedding a past identity. So you are allowed to change, you are allowed to evolve. And this eclipse story, this is only the beginning. So it's not going to happen overnight, it's going to happen over the next 18 months. The feelings that this eclipse evokes is that it's extremely personal. It's really all about the individual, your individuality. I encourage you to lean into your confidence and your creativity to really bring that energy forward for yourself. From a yoga perspective, one way for you to live through the eclipse season is to find grounding practices. I would encourage moving into a yoga studio, finding some kind of physical outlet to keep your body grounded through the eclipse season. The way that yoga works for me is that I tap into the physical body first and I get energy moving that way. And when you can do that, then your mind can follow and settle and ground itself. And then after that, your emotions can ground and settle. So I would look into finding physical activities to do. I'd love a vinyasa class to get my eclipse energy out into out of my body and into something that's productive for my body. From a wellness perspective, one way to tap into the eclipse energy is moving your body. Because Mercury is involved, we may have the experience of overthinking and over analyzing something. And to ground a mind through a yoga perspective, you have to tap into your body first. Ground your body, get it moving through a vinyasa flow, something that keeps you consistently moving. So I would avoid a yin yoga because that would, I mean, unless you have that practice to ground your mind through a yin yoga, I would do a regular vinyasa flow, get that inner body heat moving, and then after a vinyasa flow, it usually follows a meditation. And that way you ground your mind, tapping into that Mercury aspect, and that way you just kind of work with this specific eclipse. In yoga, there are the 8 limbs to yoga. Those are Patanjali's 8 limbs. And one of the limbs represents the way that we treat ourselves. In other words, it's more like mindfulness techniques. And one of the components to that is Ishvara Pranidhana, which is Sanskrit for surrender. And through this particular practice, surrendering, it's a way of letting go of your ego. And it's a way of trusting in the flow of energy and the flow of something beyond your control. So under this lunation, under an eclipse especially, I encourage you to surrender and just trust the process. This doesn't mean that you just spiritually bypass any lessons that are coming forward. You still want to be an active participant in your life, but there are some things that you just can't control to the T. And working with that aspect of letting go and trusting that there's something more to the experience that's involved it's a spiritual practice. And the eclipses are very much spiritual. So I will guide you through a meditation of releasing control. And to prepare yourselves, you really just need a yoga mat or a pillow. You can lay down and I'll guide you through the rest.
Welcome to your practice. Take a moment to fully arrive. Patiently ground yourself with each full breath. Breathe all the way in and breathe all the way out. Gently relax your shoulders and allow your awareness to settle deeper within. Now turn your mind's eye inward, allowing your physical eyes to rest softly behind your eyelids. Experience this moment from within your own shell, that quiet space inside where time slows, stillness emerges, and observation naturally takes over. Notice your body breathing. Notice the subtle movement of your body with each inhale and exhale. And notice yourself simply existing in this moment. With every breath, a small renewal takes place. Every 10 seconds, life quietly begins again. The physical experience is cleansing. The symbolic experience is meaningful. This mindful experience is an opportunity to simply observe. Every passing breath carries change in its own quiet way. By intentionally setting aside time to breathe, you invite gentle transformation on every level: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Allow yourself to witness whatever arises within this wave of change. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to force. Simply observe the subtle shifts taking place within you as your breath creates space between your heart and your mind, allowing them to move together with greater harmony. Now gently deepen your breath, noticing the fullness at the very top of each inhale before releasing it with ease. Slowly emerge from your shell and return your awareness to the space around you. Take a moment to honor yourself for showing up to this practice. Acknowledge what you've observed without judgment, and trust that each mindful breath is quietly shaping the person you are becoming. And now let's return to our Lunar Talks.
So welcome back. I hope that you enjoyed that meditation. Right now we're going to move into our tarot, so feel free to just lay back and relax as we walk through the card message of this lunation. Okay, so I'm setting the intention to draw one card, but I am open if more than one card pops out. All right, they're good. That's awesome. Okay. We got the Empress card. Okay, so the Empress for this lunation, this is really nice. The Empress is a really positive card. It's about fertility. It's about the divine feminine energy. And what that translates to in basic language is the receptive qualities of life. So it's part surrender. If I could show this back to the camera, behind the actual Empress is a river flow. So there is an element of letting things just flow to this card. And it's supportive in that we just let the energy come to us and we do with it what we will. So it's not about going out and seeking the attention or seeking the endeavors that come up to your mind and your heart. It's about letting things come to you and being receptive to when it does come to you. And it may not be what you expect. It could be better. It could be different. You just take what comes to you and roll with it. Surrender to what it is. So with all this information surrounding the lunation, I want you to take out your journal or your phone and let's tap into our minds. I have a journal prompt and it's a couple of questions, but I think it's something to tap into that aspect of this lunation that is Mercury and Jupiter involved. And that is, where in my life do I feel like I'm gaining a character reset activation? How can I allow myself to surrender to the changes? At some point during this week, I invite you to take a look in the mirror. And this is a ritual that you can practice daily until the next lunation, or just do it one time and really feel that experience. Just look at yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, I am joy. I am art. I am an expression of my heart. I know that was kind of corny, but it's so Leo. Thank you for joining me on this Lunar Talks. Let me know how this lunar eclipse is happening for you in the comments below. And if you want to see more of these videos, make sure to subscribe to YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. I am hosting astrology and tarot readings that I'll link below in the description. You can find me on Instagram at mindful.dose.com and check out my website at www.mindful-dose.com. So I'll be back in 2 weeks with the lunar eclipse in Pisces. See you guys next time.